the middle of something, so yeah.
The recording is in progress.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Andrew, for always giving us this opportunity to air out our weekly UNAD meeting. My name is Jane Joroge. I'm from Nairobi, Kenya, and it's always a privilege to hold this meeting on a weekly basis. Yeah, we are all about UnityNet Africa and Diaspora, and in a while, we are going to tell you what UnityNet and Africa and Diaspora is all about. And I am the Secretary General of UnityNet Africa and Diaspora, and also the Kenya Chapter President, UnityNet Kenya. Yeah, so welcome each and every one of you for the meeting today. And I want to see how many of us are online so that we can proceed with our agenda. Yeah, I see we have quite a number. We are 7 of us, which is okay. We can still proceed with our meeting tonight. And because normally we have Mr. Andrew checking out, maybe you can start by introducing yourself, sir, before maybe you decide to leave us. You can introduce yourself and tell us who you are, and then the rest will follow suit. Mr. Andrew, to you.
Well, thank you so much. This is Andrew Williams Jr., Andrew at andrewnetworks.com. I am privileged to provide this platform for the UnityNet Africa as well as others. This is one of a series of meetings that began quite some time ago. We will be continuing for at least the rest of this year and into next year. The idea is that we're aligning ourselves from 2021 to 2023 with multiple global activities, one of which, Madam Jane, is the African Union's Agenda 2063. This is the first 10-year implementation plan. And so from 2013 to 2023, the entire African continent has been working on 13 flagship projects for the continent, but also 5 legacy projects for the diaspora. So part of the intent here is to allow each of us to become part of this global movement and to make our efforts well known around the world. Many of us are here committed to the Sustainable Development Goals. And as you know, we are over halfway towards that. So we do want to make sure we're leaving no one behind by giving everyone an opportunity to reach out to the rest of the world. This is being live streamed on the AHIABGA network on the Facebook group, and it will be also uploaded to YouTube. And the idea is to build our membership and our network as we go forward. So Madam Jane, thank you so very much for allowing me this opportunity to introduce myself. And I will be here in the background for anything that you might need. Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Lisa Sutphin. I'm a member of the International Dance Council Division of UNESCO. I am interviewing CBO and NGO in the interior to begin to form the basic foundations of cooperative nonprofit groups and partnerships so that we can organize the permaculture movement on the ground, enhance other programs, and move everything forward with a structure that will be recognizable to the UN Global Compact for climate change. This is in pursuit of funding from the World Bank to come to the groups that are working with permaculture, agroforestry, and growth-based commerce. So I'll be leaving my information in the chat for those who wish to contact me after this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Lisa. Thank you, Mr. Andrew, for the introductions. Now we go to Mr. Lloyd. Kindly come through and introduce yourself, sir.
Thank you, Jane. So Lloyd Halferty, I'm in Canada in the Toronto area. So I am with the organization called UnityNet International. And so we had come together with my colleague Carlos in Sierra Leone quite a while ago to begin building this global network, of which Carlos is now moving forward to help develop the global network in Africa. And so UNAD, UnityNet Africa and Diaspora, was born of conversations we were having through social media, in particular on WhatsApp. And now we are expanding that from WhatsApp to create additional social media channels for discussion of all the various topics related to solutions for implementing the global goals, those sustainable development goals. So as we move forward and have conversations, we expand our network. And so we are in the network building phase during this year's 2020, 2021, and now into 2022. And so we are moving this network into its phase of actually implementing on the ground projects, nearing the end of 2022, as we network with our colleagues around the world, and to make ourselves better known and well recognized in the development communities that exist. So as we move forward, I'm hoping that we will be able to collaborate, of course, between the communities on Turtle Island here in North America and the communities in Africa, as well as others around the world on the different continents as we build this network. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Lloyd, for your introduction. Now we can move to Madam Nina Womack. Kindly introduce yourself to us, your position in UnityNet Africa and Diaspora, and any other position that you hold within the UnityNet Africa and Diaspora. To you, Madam Nina, Queen Mother Nina, sorry.
Thank you, Jane. Thank you so much. Greetings, everybody. My name is Queen Mother Nina Womack. I'm a native of Los Angeles, California. My background is in entertainment and also food security. I am a Diaspora board member for the UnityNet board, UnityNet Africa board, and also the president of our Ghana chapter. I use multimedia in the arts to promote Pan-African culture and to help Pan-African businesses, because there's a need to have tools for marketing and branding. So I do graphic design, I build websites for my clients and for my companies. I have a company in Nigeria called Transmedia 360, which is my multimedia company in Los Angeles in Nigeria. And I also have an agriculture company in Nigeria. And so as a development queen, not just in Ghana, but in my mind, I'm a development queen for all of Africa, because my interest is to see development and especially economic development throughout all of Africa. So I work with about 13 different countries in Africa, working with the communities there as we plan for development projects. And for 2023, I plan to go on a public campaign to raise funds so we can implement development projects ranging from agriculture to smart cities and entrepreneurship to help support micro entrepreneurs. And so that is what I'm currently working on. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Nina Womack. Queen Mother Nina, it's been a while, it's been a long time since you were on board, and it's good to have you here today. So we move to Madam Rose Mwandawiro. Kindly come through and introduce yourself.
Greetings, everybody. I'm Rose Mwandawiro from Kenya, Mombasa, a counseling psychologist, a nurse, and I love handling issues on mental health. It's my pride to see people mentally healthy. I'm glad to be here, and I'm I'm a member of UnityNet Kenya. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Madam Rose Mwandawiro. Always good to have you on board. Thank you for coming. We also have Gaspari Nionzima. If you can hear me, kindly unmute yourself and introduce yourself.
Okay.
Gaspari Nionzima, yeah, kindly go ahead.
Can you hear me now? Okay, thank you so much. I'm called Nionzima Gaspar.
You're not audible enough.
I'm saying I'm Nionzima Gaspar, and I'm from Uganda. I'm a medical student pursuing Bachelor's of Medicine and Surgery. I'm in year 2 at King Caesar University, Bunga, Kampala. I'm also the founder of Diaspora Foundation Initiative, championing health and development. I'm glad to be with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam Gaspari. We are glad to have you on board.
I'm not madam.
It's her. Sorry.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Gaspari.
Right.
It's a pleasure to have you on board.
Right.
Yeah, you're most welcome. Yeah, we move on to the next person that is going to introduce themselves. That is Tebren Winfred. Madam Winfred, if you can hear me.
Yes, thank you very much. My name is Winfred Tebesigwa, and I'm Miss Tourism Buganda Kingdom in Uganda. I am the President International Youth Society Uganda. I have a company of safaris, tours and safaris called Kongovo Safaris Africa. I also run an organization called Kujali Global Association. It is basically working on the boy child, since the boy child has been neglected more than any other gender, and the world has been losing our way to the roots and giving it all to the stem. So I'm basically focusing on the boy child. I am a social scientist and I am a fashion designer as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Winfred. I see you wear very many hats. It's a pleasure to have you on board. Is this your first time to be on the call?
Yeah, it's my first time.
It's a pleasure to have you, Madam. You're most welcome.
It's a pleasure having you too. Thank you.
Yeah, we are going to get to know you much better and much more. So right now we move to Madam Malaika. Madam Malaika, if you can hear me. Madam Gabriela Malaika, if you can hear me, kindly introduce yourself. Thank you.
Thank you so much, our able Continental Secretary General, protocol observed, and the organizers of the meeting, the team, the presidential team, and the media team. Thank you so much. My name's Gabriela Malaika Ligami. I'm from Uganda chapter. I serve in the office of the Vice President, Uganda chapter, and the continental level. I am the Continental Treasurer by the grace of God. And here back home in Uganda, I run an NGO that advocates and supports the needs of the elderly persons and the orphan vulnerable children. I'm happy to be part of this meeting. I'm following it closely, and I know it will end well. Thank you so much, Madam Jane, for this opportunity to introduce myself.
Thank you, Madam Gabriela Malaika, the Continental Treasurer of UnityNet Africa and Diaspora. Glad to have you on board. We now go to Madam Juliet, if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you. Good evening. Madam Chen, can you please confirm if you can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you clearly. Kindly go ahead.
Awesome, thank you. My name is Juliet Miabo. I am based in South Africa. I'm glad to be here. I work, yeah, it was interesting to hear the lady speaking about the boy child, but I work with communities of Soweto mainly, but also all marginalized communities, which are called townships. I work, we put an emphasis for obvious reasons, because of the high rate of gender-based violence. We also put an emphasis on the girl child, women, and the elderly. We do psychosocial programs to alleviate poverty and to deal with issues of abuse and food insecurity. I serve in the area of, I'm also on the board for UNET, and I serve in the space of communication and stakeholder relations and ICT. So yeah, I wear various hats, but most importantly is that, yeah, I'm part of a team here that tries to make a difference locally using both local and global solutions. And yeah, I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Juliet. It's been a while. Good to see you around.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. We go to Mr. Hendrik before we wind up with Madam Ruth.
Good
Mr.
evening.
Hendrik.
I'm Merwe from UnityNet South Africa in Vanderbijl Park, Gauteng province. And yeah, I'm on the technology side, agricultural and industrial engineering. You can read my bio in the chat, and yeah, ready to work with people in Africa. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hendrik, for always being on board. It's always a pleasure to have you, sir. We wind up with Madam Ruth. If you can hear me come through.
Yeah, thank you, President. Good evening, good afternoon. I'm Madam Ruth Chelule from Kericho, Kenya, a member of UnityNet, also a director of ActSmart company. I've worked in the Ministry of Agriculture in the government for 39 years. I'm a retired director. So I'm happy to be with you this evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Ruth, for that introduction and for coming on board. Yeah, I don't think we have our presenter tonight. I don't think she is on board, but as we wait for her to come on board and make her presentation, I think we can generate a conversation, maybe around what Madam Winfred does about the boy child. This is something we have not been able to talk about in our forum. We have been talking about the woman, the girl child. What about the boy child? What are these dynamics that are around the boy child? Yeah, I can see a hand raised. Yeah, Mr. Lloyd, kindly come through before I proceed.
Yeah, so I think that's a very interesting perspective that was put forward with regard to focusing on the boy child, because I think if it's only the focus on girls, if the issue is violence against the girls, then focusing on the boys and their proper raising of the boys to respect the girls, I think that's an important point of intervention in terms of achieving peace within our communities. So I think that there is a synergy, especially I think between what Juliet is doing and what our colleague is also doing with the boy child.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Lloyd. I also thought that is an issue that we should delve in, bearing in mind that now the girl child has been empowered and is continuing to be empowered. But we have a few people who are standing up for the boy child. He is also vulnerable. So much is going around the boy child. When it comes to abuse, they are also experiencing the abuse. When it comes to empowerment, many lack the empowerment that is supposed to be given to the boy child. And it's, okay, at some point, even within the family, the boy child has been neglected. Let me use the word neglected because that is a fact, especially in my community and in my country, Kenya at large. The boy child has been neglected. Anytime something happens to the woman, and maybe the woman is at fault, it is always blamed to the man. When the man is abused, nothing is done about it. So this is an issue of concern that we should actually maybe get to talk about and see how to help the boy child and empower the boy child. Remember, this is the person that is going to marry our daughters. I have a daughter, I am a mother. So I have to mind about the environment, or rather the health of the boy child. Because if my daughter is going to get married to this boy child, then is he empowered? Is he mentally fit? You know, psychologically, spiritually, you know, has he been nurtured? So I think this is a very interesting conversation that you can delve in, and maybe we can get to hear so much more about it from Madam Winfred. Sorry for the ambush. Maybe Madam Winfred, can you take us through what you have been doing, the dynamics that surround the boy child, the challenges that he is facing, and what you're doing about it, before we can have someone else make a contribution towards it?
Okay, thank you very much. It's really glad, and it's a pleasure that there are people who are concerned about boy child. Personally, I thought, first of all, I thought about drug addiction. But when I went deeper into drug addiction, I saw the source of it all was because the boy child was so much neglected more than anybody else. When you look in the society, organizations are being formed, and almost 99% of the organizations are helping only girl child. They're only helping mothers, breastfeeding mothers, and dropout mothers. What about the boy child? Don't boy children drop out of school because parents have failed to pay their school fees? When a girl gets pregnant at an early age, the person that is being blamed is a boy child. How about the girl? Isn't she responsible for her own life? Isn't she responsible for what she has to accept, or for what she goes in for or not? The society is basically focusing on the girl child, is focusing on mothers, is focusing on the girl dropouts, and they're leaving the boy child hanging. These people are going under depression. They are also going under different things. They are going under torture. And okay, let's leave the level of a boy and we focus on men, generally men. People say when you help one mother, you're saving a nation. How about when you help one father? We are forgetting that the father is the head of the family. We are forgetting that the father is the root. And we all stand still because of a father. We are forgetting that it's the father who goes hard, or who works harder, even more than the mother. Yes, a mother can work, but she only adds on to what the father brings on the table. But the world is really leaving that aside. When we talk about the African culture, the father is the base of the family. That is what we grew knowing. We grew up knowing. We grew up being told the father is the foundation of the family. But we are ignoring that. because everybody is talking about women empowerment. Don't men need to be empowered? When we were in the COVID pandemic, I joined a certain organization and I learned a lot of courses, and I have brothers. I'm not yet a mother, but I'm a sister to male, and I am a daughter to a male being. So as we were in COVID, I happened to learn a lot of courses, and I didn't pay for anything, but this was because it was a girl or a women foundation. Thanks to them that I learned a lot, even to present before the crowd. But then I thought about my little brothers, because they couldn't afford or they couldn't find a way to get this opportunity, but I could get that opportunity. I was like, okay, let's say also my brothers were able to find such an opportunity. Or let's say what if the boy child is being helped? What would be the result? Because we are empowering the girl child more than the boy child, and we are forgetting that at the end of it all, this most empowered girl child is going to meet with the less focused on boy child, and they meet together. Let's say they get married. What will be in marriage? Because I will speak what he doesn't understand. My language will be so different from what he knows. Even if it is building up our lives together, even trust me, when it comes to change, I can devote in my life to change him, but trust me, it will be a hard one. Why? Because he was ignored. He was not focused on. Everybody looked at him like as if he doesn't need any attention. When I went to register my organization, the Kujali Global Association, it's the one responsible for a boy. I went to the URSB to register it, and it was a male that was working on me. He was like, who says that boy child needs empowerment or they need help? Meaning them themselves are used to that nobody cares about us. And they know we need help because everyone is focused on a girl child, but trust me, these boys are dying. Trust me, those men are being tortured in marriage and nobody can talk about it. Trust me, they are being ignored and they are silently dying. And the world is really so ignorant. Actually, they're not ignorant. We know that they're dying, but we are ignoring the fact that boy child exists. And I think it's the time the world wakes up to fight and see that boy child is being taken care of. Because if not that, the future of the world, I don't know where the world will be at, because let it be where, let it be where, let it be where. A male being is seen as a foundation. And everything starts from the family. From the family, we go to the community. From the community, we go to the country. From the country, we go to the world. And if we don't empower our men, I don't know which kind of children we shall be having. I don't know which kind of fathers we are going to be having. I don't know which kind of families we are going to be having. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Madam Winfred. I'm just sitting here and thinking about what you have just said and thinking about the boy child. Like when I speak about the situation in my country, there's so many suicide cases applying to the boy child. Men are committing suicide at a higher rate than the women. This speaks to us clearly. They are also vulnerable, they are also human, they have feelings. And it's like the attention has shifted completely from the boy child to the girl child. And there's no one to protect them, no one to give them the attention. And we think that the men don't need the attention. You know, this is somebody's child. And I think every child needs some attention from someone. And I'm just also looking at the murders in my country. Every day, there's a murder being reported that a woman killed a man, you know, within a marriage. There's so much violence, so much abuse. And when this happens, there's no social media uproar when it applies to the man. But when it applies to the woman, there's this social media uproar and everybody is just speaking about it. And I'm like, does the boy child need the protection that the girl child is given? And then I'm just thinking, is it how they were raised, you know, or how we were raised? The boy child was taught not to be emotional, and the girl child was taught that the man should protect. So if anything happens to the protector, there's no one to protect them because they're supposed to protect us. You know, is it about the background? You know, these are questions I'm asking about. I'm asking myself in regards to this. So do we have anyone who wants to make a contribution towards that or reiterate to what Madam Winfred has presented to us?
If I may, sorry, I'm trying to raise my hand. May I make a comment?
Yeah, you may, Madam Juliet.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Winfred, and other contributions. There are just a few pointers that I'm going to make, and I'm going to make them in as cold way as possible, cold as in points, and just move out, because I feel that we will not do justice to this discussion if we handle it this way. I believe in research and fact-based discussions. The reason I'm mentioning that is because the emphasis that we have on women, and I'm not going to say girl child because I'm talking about women, in the world is based on the fact that we are correcting historic injustices that have been imposed on women in various societies, not just in Africa and throughout. And those injustices have been informed by a worldwide system of patriarchy. So patriarchy itself as a system is meant to subjugate and to bring women to a level of being less human, where women are not allowed to make certain decisions for themselves, where women even as children, where they are being refused access to education, where by the virtue of their gender or by the virtue of their sex or the virtue of their physical being, they are denoted to being less human. And that is very apparent. And that is still the most dominant form of system that we have in the world. So what you are seeing and what we are seeing about women empowerment, about raising the voices and raising awareness of issues of the girl child, because we're talking about issues that are linked to institutionalized abuse of girl child or women. For instance, if a 14-year-old or a 10-year-old is being sent into marriage, that person is being sent into marriage without their consent as a girl. And then they grow up into a family, that family that we're speaking of, they're the same level as the goats, they're the same level as the sheep. They have no say. So that's just one example. I mean, in my country, we have examples of what you call ubutwala, where in certain traditional and cultural setups, a girl could be walking to go fetch water or to be going to school, and an adult male will then feel it's his right to say, I see this girl, I grab her. It's what you call kidnapping. They don't want to use the word kidnapping. And it's institutionalized in cultural practices. I mean, we have discussions about that. So, and then that child, some money or cows get sent to that girl's family. It's called ubutwala. So what then happens? So you're having a traditional institution that promotes, I don't want to talk about men here, I want to talk about the girl, that promotes treating girls as subjects. It's like me going to hunt and I go and I find a buffalo and I shoot it and I grab it, or a springbok and I bring it home to slaughter it. So we are dealing with the situations of a world that has never been fair, from as many centuries back as possible, that has never been fair to the female species. Particularly, we're talking female species in the human side of animals. I'm not even talking about what lions and what, because that's a different case. So when we talk about, I'm a mother of a 9-year-old boy. I'm a mother of a 29-year-old son. I'm a mother to a 23-year-old girl. I have raised and I'm a coach. In my coach, 99% of the people in my team are boys. I start with them as boys, and they are now men. Most of them are men. So what then happens is the emphasis on making girls aware of the fact that those very men or those very boys who may come from families where it is normal for them to molest a girl. It is normal in those families or in those communities for a girl to be touched and to be fondled, or to be whatever it is that happens to girls. I don't want to overemphasize on that. So the whole idea that we need to make those girls or girls aware that those things are not legal, they're not correct. It is not acceptable because the world has made them acceptable. So the protection of girls, and that's the point I'm trying to make, the protection and the raising of awareness of issues of women, of girls. I mean, in some countries, whether it's Saudi Arabia or not, so some of these countries, women were only allowed to start driving, 3 years ago? All along, a woman was not allowed to drive. In certain communities, said women are not allowed to, okay, we know all these things that women are not allowed to do. And those things that it is said that women are not allowed to do.
Madam Juliet, Madam Juliet, thank you for your comment. We do have several people with their hands raised, so perhaps we could limit our comments to 2 minutes. Thank you so much.
Okay. Yeah, I'll come out. The point I was just saying, I think the only point I'm trying to make is in promoting the rights of girls and women does not necessarily mean that we are moving away from protecting the rights of the boy child. And also we need to correct what is wrong. And it's going to take us millions and millions of years. I will leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Juliet. Yeah, I believe we can take fewer minutes when we are responding to the issue that we are discussing around, so that we can give others the opportunity to also make a contribution. So for those who have just come in, we are discussing about the plight of the boy child. And what has come out clearly is that we have always presented the girl child and the plight around the girl child and empowering the girl child more than the boy child. So the boy child has kind of been neglected. So that is the issue we are discussing around. And you can follow through the conversation and make your own contribution. Okay, before I give to Umar Adamu, Umar Adamu, you raised your hand before, so yes, you can go right ahead. Yeah, before we come back to Madam Winfred.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. All this issue that we are discussing is an African challenge. And it's African challenge simply because, decades and centuries ago, the West are able to clean up all these issues. It's not even up to 150 years that America allow women to vote. But as development comes, the blacks men are allowed to vote now. So if we are experiencing Africa, to the extent that it's affecting us morally, looking at even what is happening in Africa, the right of women are being given, and now we are experiencing a lot of prostitution increasing in our community. We did not say that your rights is not good, but you should have a right and responsibility. This issue is silent in the man's mind. Every man have it silent in his mind. Currently in Ghana, it's a little thing that you did to a woman, she go and report that you are harassing her for rape, And it comes to a extent that even the women judges realize that the women abuse their rights, or they abuse it. Small thing a man did to them, we say it's a rape. Small thing a man to them is, I mean, they are, so it creates a lot of divorce, and it creates a lot of prostitution. So when women are given too much rights, it creates the society, it puts the society's morality. We did not say that the women should not have their rights, but look at the content of the rights. Now, in Ghana, there are a lot of prostitution in the different names. You have a slave queen, you have a hookup. All these are called, all these women are prostitutes because their right is being given to them. Nobody is being controlled them. We did not say your right is not good, but the right is supposed to come with the responsibility. You know, the men are now watching it silent. It's easy for, look at even in South Africa, it's hardly for a man to marry because of the what? The culture issue. But a man can pregnant 100 women or 50 women without marrying them. That is the culture. Because some rights are being given, which is not even support the responsibility of the society. So we should look at it very carefully. We are reaching a certain stage that the promotion of feminism should cut, should limit, because the more you promote feminism, the more you increase prostitution, the more you increase divorce, the more you increase the isolation of a man to woman. When you have a too much rights, the men will cut their isolation. The men will not come close to the women, and they'll get some of the women who give them a pleasure with the price. The institution of marriage will collapse. I mean, in Africa, right now, it's happening in Africa. The institution of marriage collapsed. Prostitution is increasing with a different name, with the different platforms. We know it, but we remain silent. The women here is supposed to talk about it. There's more prostitution today than 10 years ago. So we should look at it in another context too. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you very much, Mr. Adamu, for the dynamic that you have brought across. It's very interesting. Can we have Madam Winfred responding to what has been said before we go to Queen Mother Nina?
Yes, thank you very much. I will first of all respond to Madam Juliet. Yes, you are correct in the injustices being done to women, but do you know what causes the injustices that men are doing to women or that boys are doing to women? The mere fact that we are neglecting this gender, because it's not that they know, or it's not that they know it is normal for them, or it's not that it's normal for them to insult women. No, it's not that it is normal, but it's because some of them are not even being told that it's really abnormal. It's inappropriate for you to come out and start insulting or harassing a woman or a girl child. And the only way we can correct this, actually the perfect way for you to go about this, or for you to stop or to fight against the injustices that the boys are doing when it comes to girl child, it is for you to come out and fight for the boy child as well. It's for you to come out and talk to the boy child as well. You know why? When we were in school, people used to come and all they could call out to be talked to were girls. Nobody came and they were in position to talk to boy children. So what I think is that there should be a balance. As we are doing whatever we are doing, yes, we are fighting for women, or we are fighting for that gender, you are fighting for us, but you are neglecting this other gender that is causing harm to us. And if you're neglecting the gender that is causing harm to us, then how will the harm stop? I think the only way to fight, or to fight for the girl child, is for you to talk to the boy child. It's for you to show the boy child the right way to go. It's for you to sit them down and tell them this is right, this is not right. this is appropriate, this is inappropriate. It is for you to create equal rights. We are at a situation whereby the women have gotten their rights. We are at a situation whereby girls are being favored when it comes to school, grades, when it comes to job, when it comes to leadership. Everybody knows we have to balance, or we have to fight so that a woman gets a position. So now it's the right time for us to come out and rebalance. When everybody was creating or was fighting for a girl child, they talked about gender equality, but that is not gender equality. The gender equality we must move with is when we balance both male and female. Because if we don't do that, the boys will continue harassing you girls. If we don't do that, there are going to be a lot of marriage breakups. You know why? Because currently, girls and boys are getting married because of early pregnancies. But what causes that? We should fight the cause and not the outcome. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you very much, Madam Winfred, for responding to that. Just thinking through, before I come back to you, Madam Queen Madanina, I think this should be a two-way traffic. As per where we are at, it should be a two-way traffic, because it looks like a universal problem. And I know before it was a man's world, we were living in a man's world. And I know this is a countering, it is a counter of having a man's world. And now the girl child is being empowered, but neglecting the boy child. I believe because of the lack of attention and the lack of empowerment, the boy child is hurting, and they are also experiencing a lot of joy within the family and within the community. There's a lot of hopelessness with the boy child. And if this is not handled, our girl child is in danger. That is how I'm looking at it. It's a two-way traffic. If we don't give attention to the boy child, our girl child, the one we are trying to protect, is in danger. They are going to be vulnerable to all these vices that are coming in with the boy child. So as you say, Madam Winfred, as we empower the girl child, we should, at this other hand, empower the boy child so that we strike the balance. There can never be equality if we leave out the boy child. This is supposed to be the head of the family, because this boy is gonna be a man. They are gonna get married and have children. If we don't empower them, what kind of a family are we raising? So there's going to be a lot of imbalance, even within the family, and it's gonna lead to maybe dysfunctional families, as we heard in our last meeting about the dysfunctional families. This is another contribution to that. And so, okay, there's something that was actually uttered by Mr. Adamu about the men being implicated in matters of violence. I have seen this a lot, especially in my country. Anytime a woman raises her voice, she is heard. When the man raises his voice, he is not heard, which is really hurting the boy child. And it is really making them even become suicidal because there's no one to listen to them. So I watched a clip, I think on Facebook, of they were trying to show how much attention has been given to the girl child or the woman and not given to the boy child and the man. And they were showing this man and woman in a public space, and the man was harassing the woman, and everybody came crowding, and they were actually in to fight the man because of the man harassing the woman. And then they brought another side of the coin, whereby we have a woman harassing the boy child, and everyone was just about their own business. It's like nothing is happening. The boy child should be harassed. So I think there's a lot of imbalance. Yeah, with that, maybe we can go to Queen Madanina before we go to Mr. Lloyd. Queen Mother.
Thank you, Madam Jane. Thank you. Well, what I wanted to say was just said, Queen Winifred said it and someone else, but I did want to just reiterate, like one of my companies that I run is called Let's Be Whole, WHOLE. And I started that because, the whole entire world works together as one. And so when we look at health, when we look at, our mental health, when we look at all these aspects of the world, we need completeness. We need whole. And that's what Let's Be Whole is about. I just wanted to say what Madam Juliet said, that yes, there is a great focus on women empowerment and the child empowerment, but I believe that we need that like right now in order to create the healing, in order to have the balance so we can all be whole. So it's got to be a focus on the areas that are weak and that are suffering, so we can go and heal those wounds, and then we all can come together as whole. I agree with Winifred that we do need to focus on the man child, the boy child too, but because historically, it has been because of the as a matter of fact, the European patriarchal society came in the early 15th century and brought this institution, this mindset that women were below the men. In ancient Africa, as you know, according to tradition, the male and the female spirit was both worshipped and acknowledged as equal, but it was the European patriarchy, the men, that came in and took away the power of the woman. So now we are in a restoration period where it's time for the woman's power to grow and to be able to come to a balance with the male power. So yes, we need the healing for the men, but we definitely need the focus on the women. And I just want to make another point. My part of a program that I'm rolling out is healing from the trauma of the transatlantic slave trade. And my godmother is my mentor. She's a grant writer and so forth. So I told her about that so she can help me write some grants. And she said, she was like, Nina, why don't we write grants around everybody, equality for everybody and every race included. And I love every culture. I love every race. No matter where you're from, I'm going to love you. I don't care about race. But the thing is Black people need the healing now. If we just made the focus on, okay, everybody is, we're not going to have racism among everybody. Like, yes, we do ultimately want to get to that point where we're looking at each other as one human race, but we can't ignore the Black people that are suffering around this whole entire world. We have to specifically heal them right now. And as Black people get whole, then we can be whole with other cultures and races and nationalities. We can't overlook that. So I just wanted to say that, and then in closing, just to bring up this Bible quote on what this balance is about. 1 Corinthians 12, verse 19 says, if this is talking about the body in Christ, but it can apply to this. It says, if they were all one part, where would the body be? As it is, there are many parts, but one body. The eye cannot say to the hand, I don't need you. And the head cannot say to the foot, I don't need you. On the contrary, those parts of the body that seem to be weaker are indispensable. And the parts that we think are less honorable, we treat with special honor. And it goes on, but that Bible quote is talking about the wholeness and all of our parts making up this complete circle. So we're all needed. And that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Nina.
Amen. Amen. To that.
Mr. Lloyd's hand is up. Maybe we can get to hear from him.
Yeah, thank you so much for this conversation. I think this is an interesting turn in the way we've been discussing things. Of course, there is an emphasis on women, but I think it was actually Joan Kerr from the Foundation for Building Sustainable Communities who first sort of raised awareness that what we need to be focusing on is more than likely not just either women or men, but families. And actually that was brought home yesterday to me one more time in attending this Ambassadors for Peace awards banquet last night by the Universal Peace Federation, where I have shared as well a link to the video that introduces their organization. So one of the programs they do have within that organization, I think it could be something that we could synergize with them in helping to deliver. They do this actually events on May 15th, the International Day of Families. And I think this focus on families is something that we might want to consider to do. So they have programs existing that they've been doing for many, many years, even decades, around family, marriage and family education, relationship education, especially for youth, parenting education, and of course, marriage and relationship education related to the way they can deliver and strengthen the families. And that was actually their philosophy. It was by strengthening the families first, you can strengthen the communities, the societies, the countries, and the world. And ultimately, that was their philosophy that they presented to us last night. And I encourage people to find out more about this organization so we can link up in all the different countries. Again, I put in the contact information. They do have offices around the world, but I put specifically the contact information for the two offices in Africa. One's in Nigeria and one's in Cote d'Ivoire. Thank you.
Okay, I hope you're done, Mr. Lloyd. Sorry for the interruption. Madam Winfred, do you have any response to what has already been for the contribution, or in regards with the contribution that has already been given? Any feedback or response?
Yeah, not really, but everything they have said, they've talked about is really in line. And Mr. Lloyd has said the problem is the foundation. Still, I said it starts with the family, the community, country, continent, and then to the world. So I think it's the high time we all come out and fight for what we have to fight for a better of what we want the world to be. That is all I can say.
Thank you, Madam Winfred. Any other contribution in regards to this or around this?
Sorry, I keep losing my icon for raising my hand. Sorry, okay. I'm sorry, Madam Jane. Okay. Can I just make one contribution?
Yes,
to be a sentence, and it will be in the same spirit. And I want to thank Queen Mother Nina. It will be in the same spirit that Queen Mother Nina made her contribution, and also to say that we are not, as human beings, as brothers and sisters, as men and women, boys and girls, we are not in a space where we should be fighting each other. And that is why people need to understand that there's a difference between womanism and feminism, because womanism is about celebrating who you are as a woman, and it's not about fighting for any status. but it's about living together. It's about coexisting together. It's about making our lives, whether within family, churches, companies, everywhere, to be livable, you know, but also it needs to be livable starting with you as an individual. But you need to understand who you are in the context of a family. Are you just a mother, or are you also an individual that has a personality, that has gifts, that has talents? Or are you just a wife? Or are you just a cook or a cleaner? Or are you a person who can contribute? Because when you contribute positively towards your family, you can contribute towards your community, towards your nation, towards your world. So it's not about fighting, it's about making sure that everyone has right to having a livable space and contribute positively to themselves and to the world that they live in. So it's all about synergy. Professor Lloyd spoke about that. It's all about synergy. And then let's also agree that we all have different callings and purposes, and let us do and focus on the callings and the purposes that we are called for, without necessarily destroying the other purposes that others are fighting for. As if Madam Winfred and other people's purpose is to fight for men and men's rights, when we fight for children, it does not mean we exclude boys, but we all have to do what we have to do, as long as we are all fighting. No, we are all working towards a positive and a healthier society. That's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Juliet, for that contribution. Yeah, you're very right. We should not fight about who is superior than the other, or who should be given more attention than the other. But because this is a forum whereby we are discussing on the boy child more than the girl child, I think that is why it's coming out so strongly about the plight of the boy child. But I believe that we can synergize all this and maybe create a balance that can actually be witnessed as a healthy balance, yeah, within the families and within the communities. I want to shift the gear a little bit. And maybe I would want to ask Madam Malaika Gabriela to tell us about the challenges that surround the elderly man. What are these challenges vis-a-vis what the elderly woman experiences? How is it like with the elderly? Madam Malaika?
You just mentioned my name when I was about to raise my hand. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, I've been following closely to what our sister Winfred has been discussing and giving us out. And I believe there is a reason, and there is a reason why we have to raise voices on the issue of a boy child. First of all, in the communities that I serve, me being in the field of the elderly, both men and women, we find challenges when it comes to the male, the elderly man. Yeah. So many voices have been risen, advocacy around the grandmothers, advocacy around the women, advocacy around the girl child, but we forget advocacy around a boy child, advocacy around the youth boy, and advocacy around the elderly man. The challenges that I've seen as we serve in the communities that we are in right now concerning the elderly men, like many of them, they have no rights. They have nowhere they can run to. There is no law that is abiding for them as a man figure in the community. And then, like, when it comes to faults, like maybe children didn't study or poverty in the home, it all goes around and it is the man that is pointed at. Yeah, this older person that they know when daddy was still strong, he forgot about us, he left us. So all the allegations which are negative in the community or in that household, it will always be pointed to the older man. But when it is a success, or when the family is successful, or the community is successful, they'll always give a clap to the grandmother or the woman. So there is a lot of controversy when it comes to the elderly man or the boy child. And then number two, you'll find that they have a lot that they are going through. It will only take an older man when you draw closer to them and they open up what they have been carrying inside their hearts. I have met cases whereby an older man has an issue that has been paining him inside his heart. You know, most of the men are introverts, they are not extroverts. So they don't talk a lot about what they are going through. They will better sit on their issues and say that, yes, I am a man, ego for men. I am a man, I can handle this. But in the long run, it kills them inside. By the time they clock 60, 70, 80, it's like out of fun. So they just leave it at that. So you'll find out that they have a lot inside their heart. They have no forum. But at the grandmothers, the women, we have a forum whereby we can go and shout out and speak out what we are going through. We're going through abuse, we're going through rape, we're going through this. But also these older men and also the men themselves, they've been going through such abuses, they've been going through rape in their houses. But a man cannot come out and say, you know what, I've been going through this with my woman in the house, I've been beaten, I've been threatened, I've been raped. So for them to air out that, they better die with it inside their heart and they're like, yes, I am a man. That's another challenge that we face. And then we have also—
Madam Malaika, we are losing your audio.
Oh my goodness. Am I clear now?
Yeah, very clear.
Okay, I was just a reminder of what I had just spoken a few minutes back about an older man and being an introvert. Many of these elderly men, they have been introvert or men most of the time because of their ego. They will not air out what they are going through, the issues that are facing them in their household. So they will better be, I am a man. Let me just die with this inside my heart. But for us women, we have forums, yeah? We have where we can run to say, yes, I'm having challenges in my household. We are having abuse, rape cases, stuff like that. But do you know also these older men have been raped with us women? Do you know these older men have been also abused with these women as well? But they have no forum where they can go and speak out their voices. Then we also have like these elderly men that have spent like the entire of their years without any child. I think they are called, for the women, they are barren, and I think for the men, I'm looking for a name, but SG will help me get that name. So they haven't had kids yet. But for the elderly women, there's a way they'll run around like other children, being a mother, having a heart of a woman. But for the men, in this society, they'll always live there. They have been fatherless the entire of their growing up, their youthful age, their adult age. Now they're in their elder age. No child, they have been childless. So most of them, they're just abandoned. They're on their own. No one bothers about them. So as therefore, and I'm really loving what Madam Winnie is doing. We are coming up with a platform for the older man, whereby they can have also forums where they can speak out. We have the men challenge, we have the men's week, the elderly men's week, and the youth who are men's week, where they just come. We call also other scholars who are men to speak about their issues, to speak about their challenges. And I think when we start with this in the communities where they are living, we get to the churches where they are going to, we get to the mosques where they are going to, we get to the schools, institutions where this boy child is being educated and being brought from the nursery level as we go to the higher education, higher level of education. And we put those platforms, we put those forums. Why? It's important also to value this boy child, to value the men in the society that you're living in. Someone will ask, but Malaika, you're a woman. Why are you speaking and fighting so much about the man? As Winnie said, they're the ones who are holding, they're the heads. We are the neck. So for us who are the neck, who are the women, it's us to twist the neck where it has to be. But this head, without the head, the neck cannot function. So we found out that many elderly men have died suicidal. They just commit suicide in their houses because like there's nothing they've worked out. When these kids, another challenge is when the kids grow up, Madam CSG, when they grow up and they get jobs, they are better off, they get married. Most of us forget our daddies, we forget our guardians who are the men. We believe they were the worst when we are growing up. And then we shall always be finding out support goes to the grandmothers. You get it. Support goes to the mothers. You get it. But it doesn't get like they don't, even if the man wants or this grandfather wants to be closer to the kids will go through the mom. Hello, they keep on calling mommy. But at the end of the day or at the end of the call, they'll be like, oh, how is Papa? You send my greetings. You'll find that mommy is always being given, like, let's say 1,000 shillings, but Papa will be given 200 shillings. Why? There is a mentality in our mindset that mommy was there for us, but Papa, the fathers are not there for us. They're not there for the children. But in the other way around, it is wrong. So it's up to me, to you, SG, to Madam Juliet, to Winnie, to Mr. Lloyd, to everyone that is on board right now. It's beginning with us, me and you, so that we can, the next generation or the people coming behind us and joining this voice, to know that we are all equal. Yeah, we have to leave no one behind. We have not to forget that boy child, because I don't know the type of husbands our daughters are going to marry in the near future. Talk of the manners, talk of the attitude, talk of the introverts, talk of the, the ego. So it's up to us to work and react now for us to have a better man tomorrow, for us to have a better grandfather tomorrow. We reduce cases of suicide. We refuse cases of psychological torture. We refuse cases of isolation, discrimination among these grandfathers. I've seen voices of grandmothers. They're speaking a lot about them, but grandfathers is muted. Okay, Madam CS, you know me, I can talk. When it comes to grandmothers,
but
I can speak all
but
the
I
night.
really,
You have to do something, not just talking and talking, but not implementing anything on the ground. I'm so grateful for this discussion. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Madam Malaika. I really wanted to hear your aspect, your perspective of the boy child, especially when we come to the elderly man. What are they going through? Because I believe these issues run deep. And when you say that so much commendation is given to the mothers, because the fathers were absent. Some of these fathers, they were absent because they were busy fending for the family. And we don't understand that aspect, that the father was not around because he was busy fending for the family. And in Africa, we have big families. We have 10 children, 11 children, 12, So it takes a lot for the man to fend for the families. And no wonder many men are dying of heart attack, especially in our communities, very many cases of heart attack is to the men, apart from the woman. So I think these issues run very deep. There's a program here in Kenya that is called Boys to Men, whereby boys are raised to become men. And then they graduate to another course program that is called Man Enough, whereby they are taught to be man enough. And you find that most of these boys, they never grew up with a father. And they were never given attention by the male figure. They grow up and they are ignored by the world. The same men ignore them and they give attention to the woman. So this man has never experienced the love of a father. And then the world also neglects them. So there's so much hurting. And when I attended a graduation ceremony of this course program, I really felt that these issues ran deep. So if we can wind up with Madam Rose as a psychologist. Madam Rose, kindly tell us what is happening in this case scenario as a psychologist? What is your experience and what can you tell us?
Okay, thank you so much, Madam Jane. Actually, things going around the boy child and the girl child, there are things which need to be evaluated, as we are all seeing and looking at. And to mention just a few, we have over-empowered the girl child such that the boy child is feeling left out. And right now, people are coming up with new ideas on how now to empower a girl child, a boy child, sorry, so that they can be at par. We see that the girl child is so much empowered, such that they are not in the same line, in the same level with the boy child. When it comes to marriages, you see the girl child is so much empowered more than the boy child. And the boy child, the problem they have is that they always feel that a man should not air out his views. He will look like a weaker person or a weaker sex, which they don't like to be identified with. So you find that they keep quiet to themselves and they are suffering internally. That's where now we are seeing all these problems coming up, and the boy child is actually committing suicide. They are actually killing the family members due to the frustrations and the depression here and there, just because they don't have the opportunities and the forums to air out their views. So actually, I'm very happy to hear from Madam Winfred that at least there is some programs which are coming up to also empower the boy child in our communities. I think it is something which should be embraced all over. And we have also, as somebody has said, that there is only the women rights and we don't have the men rights. I think we should also have such kind of policies coming up so that we empower the boy child equally the way the girl child is empowered. Thank you. I hope I've answered something. Madam Jane, are you there?
Oh,
Right.
very sorry. I was talking to myself. I didn't know that I was muted. Yeah, thank you very much, Madam Rose, for the perspective that you have just drawn to us. That is a picture that you have painted to us on the psychological side of what is happening, you know, what we are looking at in the case scenario. So at least now we are at a better position to see how we are going to handle the issue. And lastly, we are going to have Bishop Ayodele coming through. Bishop Ayodele.
Okay. So, Madam SG, and I want to concur with the last speaker, Madam Rose, submission. Yes, like the message I sent that people are advocating for the girl child right, women right, why probably internationally the men rights are not really recognized. Yet we have a lot of men that even suffer more than what women are suffering. There is no one to, sorry. We realize that generally now they are putting both the men and the women in.
We are losing you, Bishop.
The equal rights, but at the same time, why the men rights are denied internationally. So I think it is going to be, thank God that Mr. Lloyd is on board. We can also use the platform of UnityNet Africa and Diaspora in conjunction with Unite to create a platform for advocating for men's rights globally. So thank you. That is my submission.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ayodele. I think we are going to take that conversation into our UNAD platform so that we can see how we can address the issue, because there is a need, a dire need to address the main issues and to empower the boy child. Yeah, now we can have a parting shot from Madam Winfred, and then we wind up. Madam Winfred, if you're there, kindly give us a 1-minute parting shot.
Thank you very much. Actually, I'm grateful that I've had a lot that has been actually running in my mind. And when I talk to people, some of them don't get it, they don't understand it, but I'm really happy that I'm talking to a group that really gets it and understands it. And all I can say is that this is not about us fighting against each other, but it's all about a mother, a girl, a daughter, a boy, and a son coming together to improve the society. And it only can be done if you, me, him, her, and somebody else join our hands to fight for what we really think the better society should be. And also to fight for the same rights that I have so that he can have them. Thank you. That is all I have.
Thank you, Madam Winfred. Okay, I hope you're through. I see Madam Malaika's hand up. Before I go to Madam Malaika, were you the one who was supposed to make a presentation to us today, Madam Winfred? I just want to be clear.
Yes, I am.
You are the one who was supposed to make a presentation on, what was it about? It was
Ngalo
about Ngalo Expo.
Yeah,
Connect Up.
Yes, I am.
Okay. Maybe we were needed to talk about this, and then maybe next time I can, next Monday, I can slot you in for your presentation.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, sorry. I just missed on your name.
It's okay.
Yeah, I missed on your name, I'm sorry. Madam Malaika, you can come through as we wind up.
Sorry, I had failed to lower my hand. I submit. I had not raised it. Thank you so much.
Okay,
Yes,
thank you very much. Now we are coming to the end of, or rather we have come to the end of our presentation. And it's been a very, very great presentation, or rather interaction, a great discussion. And I believe we have borrowed a leaf from the various contributions that have been brought forward. So until we meet next Monday, same time, it's a blessing to have all of you come on board. So I can say good night, good day, good morning, good afternoon from wherever you are. Yeah. So God bless you and see you next time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
It's been a great
Thank
discussion.
you. Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah,
Thank
bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
All right.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Love
Thank
you all.
you.